Hello CBC Youth and anyone else who is watching, and welcome back to another questions video. This is our series where we take questions pertaining to, living this Christian life, and we kind of break them down and talk about them. And so today we are talking about the question, what does the Bible say about respecting others? And this is going to be a very pertinent question for us as believers, because basically every single interaction we have, unless it is literally like half a second, every single interaction we have the opportunity to either treat someone with respect or treat someone with disrespect. And the way we treat people is going to show, for us as believers, either show Christ or bring kind of dishonor to him. So it's something we really need to understand. What does the Bible say about respecting others? And we're going to kind of go about this by talking about who we are to respect, how we are to respect them, and then why. Why are we called to respect people in this way? And so the first question here, who are we to respect? Who are we to respect? And understanding this from a worldly perspective first can kind of be really eye-opening as to why some of us misunderstand respectfulness and what it means to be respectful. Because the actual definition of respectfulness in English dictionaries is to give someone recognition or treatment based on their merit or value. Based on their merit or value. And you can see how this is inherently flawed from a worldly perspective, because from a purely humanistic perspective, people do not have any value. And not every humanist will agree with that, but they don't have a leg to stand on, because we don't have any inherent value from a purely humanistic standpoint. And so then it falls onto merits. And so you have to earn your right to be respected, basically. And if you don't believe me, think of the phrase, respect is earned. How many times have we heard the phrase, respect is earned, not given? We hear this all the time in our society. Even in a society that claims to be more respectful than ever, we still have this idea that respect is earned, not just given. And so that makes it clear why we have this really twisted idea of respect. And it basically is like a license to disrespect someone up until they show themselves as useful or valuable to you. It's a really selfish standpoint for respect. But as believers, as Christians, we understand that God made humanity in his image. The Bible tells us this in Genesis 1:26. So we understand that God made humanity in his image. And therefore, each and every person has a high level of value and dignity inherently. They don't have to earn that value. They don't have to earn that dignity. They don't have to show themselves meritorious to earn our respect in that way. They already have a high value of dignity and honor and value. All right? So, this is a quote from St. Anselm about this. It says, "Consider therefore the greatness and dignity that he bestowed upon you at the beginning of your creation, and judge for yourself with what love and reverence he ought to be worshipped." So understand that in creation, God gave us this value and this dignity that is inherent. So respect is not earned from the Christian worldview. Everyone is deserving of respect. Everyone. And that is hard to hear, but every single person we interact with is inherently worthy of respect. No matter what they do, no matter how they interact with us, they are inherently endued with this worthiness of respect just by being image bearers of God. So here are a few verses talking about this. There were a bunch more that I didn't use. This is very pertinent in the Bible. This is 1 Peter 2:17. Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the emperor. But those verse 2 words, honor everyone. This is Matthew 7:12. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Right? We understand this as the golden rule, right? Do unto others what you would have done to you. Jesus says it summarizes all of the law and the prophets, right? The way that we interact with each other can be summarized as treating others with the respect we want to be treated with. This is Philippians 2, verses 3 and 4. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. And this is my favorite one here. This is Romans 12:10. It says, love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Outdo one another in showing honor. So as believers, we are not just to respect people, we are to strive to respect them. We want our respect for them to be evident, to be showcased, right? And we put effort into that. In fact, Paul tells us to outdo one another in it. We're supposed to kind of shine above each other in how much we respect people around us. That is a hefty call. And so if we know that who we are to respect is everyone we interact with, everyone who is, that I don't care if that's a teacher, a parent, a friend, a sibling. I used to never respect my sibling, but if it is a sibling, right? We are called biblically to respect everyone. So again, that's a hefty call. How do we do it? How are we to respect people? And because I can't give you specifics for every specific encounter, because respect really is situational, right? And you have to know kind of how to do it in the moment yourself. I want to instead give you kind of a question to reflect on. So a good question to consider as you're asking yourself, like, am I respecting people, is, am I contributing to a peaceful relationship with this person? Am I contributing to a peaceful relationship with this person? This is Romans 12:18. It says, if possible, so far as it depends on you. So there's two kind of asterisks to this statement. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. And this is a quote from Wolfgang Musculus. He says, peace cannot be based only on one person's goodwill. Both parties have to strive for it. So what this means for us is that we have to put forward a desire and a striving for peace in the relationship, and that shows that we are treating the people in a respectful manner. This does not mean that the relationship actually has to be peaceful. Again, Romans 12:18 gives the if possible, and above all these, so far as it depends on you, as these kind of asterisks to say that this does not mean that the relationship will always be peaceful. It means that we are putting in the effort to contribute peace to the relationship. It doesn't mean that the other person will respect you with the same respect that you give, but it does mean that you are doing your part in giving that respect. And this is a very good question to ask yourself, and I encourage you, even if you are in a relationship that it's not being reciprocated, that does not mean to just drop your guard and start throwing disrespect their way. It means that we double down and we show respect even further. Okay? And so some other things to consider as you're asking yourself, am I being respectful in this relationship? Consider your thoughts. How do you think about the person? How do you think about the person? This is Luke 6:45. It says, the good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure produces evil, for out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks. Out of the abundance of his heart his mouth speaks. Basically what this means is that disrespect doesn't come out of nowhere. Disrespect is a heart issue. Disrespect starts in the heart. Another way to think about this is that you would never say something about someone or do something to someone that you hadn't thought about on some level beforehand, right? We still make stupid decisions in split-second moments, but that has probably been boiling up inside of you long term. So if you say something incredibly disrespectful to someone, that shows that, okay, you are not considering your thoughts. You're not exercising self-control in your thoughts about that person. And you probably need to start there. The next thing to do is to consider your words. How do you talk to the person? And more importantly, how do you talk about the person? Respect is not just something that we do to someone's face. Respect is how we treat someone all the time. And so if you are talking terribly about somebody, you're exercising no self-control in how you talk about them when they are not around, eventually that's going to wear down your self-control of how you talk about them when they are around, right? So you're already disrespecting them away from them, and then you're going to start disrespecting them to their face because you're exercising no self-control in the words that you use about this person. And the last thing is to consider your actions. Consider your actions. How do you act towards that person? Respecting someone does not just mean doing what they say. You can do what someone says in a really disrespectful manner, or you can even not do what someone says in a respectful manner, right? I used to, when I worked retail, I would have moments where my boss would ask me to do something, specifically usually around scheduling, right? He'd ask me to work a Sunday or something. I'd say, I can't, I have church, right? I didn't have to be disrespectful just because I was not doing what he told me to do. I was able to have a conversation with him and still respect him as my boss, even though it was something I couldn't do. Right? And so all this means is that you need to consider the way you're thinking about someone so that you're not boiling over in the words that you say about someone, so that you're not treating someone in active disrespect altogether. Right? Respecting someone it's about your tone, it's about your attitude, it's about your mannerisms. It's a big deal. Everything we do can contribute to our respectfulness or disrespectfulness. Little story about this. When I lived at home when I was a teenager, my one chore, my one duty was to take out the trash. That was the only thing I was supposed to do every week. And every single week, I would be sitting downstairs, I would be playing video games or whatever, and I would hear my mom say, your father is literally taking out the trash right now. And I'd go upstairs, and I'd be all begrudgingly, and I'd look outside. My dad would be taking the trash to the curb, right? And so I'd go and I'd take, he'd take one of the 3 bags and I'd take the other 2 or whatever. And this just kept happening, right? And it would happen every single week, or I'd get a text, or she'd yell down the stairs or whatever, because I was being so lazy about it. And eventually the one day, it was on Thanksgiving, I remember it really well, my dad told me to take the trash out, and I did a classic. I did a little bit of an eye roll, right? I kind of sighed. And right there in front of the whole family, including my adult cousins who are older than me and stuff, he goes, do it with a little less attitude next time. And I think of this story when I think of respect because my cousins still bring it up every time they see me. And it's funny because I know that I needed it. I know that I needed it because I thought I was being respectful. I don't know how I thought I was, but I thought I was, right? I thought I respected my parents. But my thoughts about my parents were, okay, why won't they just get off my back? I'll do the trash whenever. My words were, whatever, okay, I'll help him, I guess. And my actions were doing the absolute bare minimum, and at times less than the bare minimum. So I was not respecting them. I really needed to stop and ask myself if I was contributing respect or peacefulness to the relationship. And I would have seen that I was not, right? And so this brings us kind of to our wrapping up point, which is why? Why do we show this respect? Why are we supposed to strive to outdo one another in showing honor and respect to other people? And ultimately, aside from the fact already that we all have value, we all have worth in the light of the fact that we are created in the image of God, ultimately the main reason that we show respect to others is because we are respecting the created order of God. We are respecting his creation, and that glorifies him. When we respect other people, it is showing our respect for God, and it is showing a desire to glorify him. This is Colossians 3:17. It says, and whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to God the Father through him. And this is a quote from Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones. He says, glorify God by recognizing his gifts in others in paying honor and respect to them. So the main reason that we respect others, even when it is hard, when they themselves make it hard, the reason that we respect them and treat them with honor and dignity is to glorify God. We want to glorify God by respecting his creation. And that is a truly high calling. that we won't always do perfectly, but that we ought to strive for. We ought to strive to treat others with respect so that we're showing God our respect for Him and His creation and our desire to glorify Him. So I hope that that helps you in dealing with these relationships where respect needs to be shown. Again, it's with all people at all times. We need to strive for this. And so if you have any follow-up questions or thoughts or anything like that, reach out to me, let me know. Otherwise, see you in the next one.